The Ultimate Deck Podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at. With your hosts, Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah. The Ultimate Deck Podcast.
When responsibilities weigh heavy on my mind, and I just need to get away and take a walk outside. I don't need no flashlight, I got stars and moonshine. Then the breeze starts whistling, the whippoorwill starts singing.
That's a banger of a song. Welcome back.
You were going to put a
Deck
different
Podcast.
song on this time.
No, I'm still grooving to that one. Welcome back to the Ultimate Deck Podcast.
You're still
with
listening to
Wade
that
Shane.
song.
Yeah, the full week. Yeah. How are you today, my friend?
Oh, man, so good. It
Want to
feels
talk
like,
about those hockey games last night?
feels like nothing has changed since the last one.
So, funny story. I said we were going to talk about your nipples last week, and people undoubtedly are like itching. You're like, why are we going to talk about Wade's nipples? So I just overheard a conversation this morning
So funny.
from Dana, our accountant, and she's like, I don't even remember how this went. She was like, Wade, I got to talk to you about something.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, shit, here we go. We were
Right.
like, I'm going to be in trouble for something I did.
Yeah.
Nope. That turns out Fraser's mad at me for something I did. I returned a bunch of fence boards from Saskatoon into the Regina store. So Regina's sales took a hit yesterday because of something that happened in Saskatoon. Fraser
Like you did it accidentally?
Mhm.
It was
Accidentally.
I got you.
I was
I
like,
was like, why would they come here? But
return,
They didn't come
sell.
here.
They didn't come here. It was like I was in the wrong store when I was doing the processing. So anyways,
Yeah. That's an error that's like, it's funny.
Happens
It's funny.
all the
We've
time.
officially hit the point where ownership just pisses everybody off.
yeah. So
It's
yesterday,
like,
their
they all got their shit down. It's like us that make the mistakes that like makes their lives harder now.
cash out's wrong. We don't know how to use the systems properly. Like we used to be on the floor.
We know how. We just don't do it enough that it's top. We just like, we're absent-minded.
Yeah.
Too much going on that we just like, we're not all there when we're doing things. It's just like,
So like a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago, I converted an order to an invoice. And the way we do this is that it gets invoiced when the product leaves the store. And if it doesn't leave, then it's not supposed to get invoiced. I was in Saskatoon, and this customer came in and I loaded up their order and was like, yeah, so good. See you later. Have a great one. Invoiced the whole thing, sent it. But they didn't take the whole thing. There was some solid edge boards that didn't go.
come on,
I
Wade.
know, and then I get in trouble. And Nick's like, well, that's not how you're supposed to do it. I was like, I know that's not how it's supposed to be done, but I don't do this all the time.
Yeah, but you told us. I know I told you. It's your rule. I know it's my rule.
And so yesterday I was downstairs in Regina and this customer came in. He was like, I'm here to pick up some decking for whatever, Sean. And I was like, okay, sounds great. I walked in the back. I'm like, Pat, there's a guy here. He's going to pick some decking up. Rebecca comes back from lunch and I was like, oh, thank God you're here. I was just about to make some mistake. I don't know what the mistake was going to be, but absolutely if I would have clicked buttons, I was going to do something wrong. So you're here. That guy's picking up decking for Sean. Pat's loading it. I'll just leave this in your capable hands. She was like, yeah, thanks. Please get out from behind the desk. I was like, yep, we're just not, we shouldn't be there anymore.
We've been fired from sales.
Yeah, which is great.
But no, anyway, today Dana comes up and it's like, I heard, like maybe you tell the story because I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said something like, she's like, I heard that the Rebecca and the team downstairs is always making fun of you because of your hard nipples.
Your nipples are
Your
always
nipples
hard.
are always hard.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
And she was like, so?
So I had to come check them out.
Sure enough, they were there.
This is why I wear undershirts.
I need to wear, no, I don't. I don't need to wear undershirts. I need to actually lose a little bit of weight.
And then your nipples will shrink.
No, but I won't
they'll be
lead with my
flatter.
tits.
I won't lead with my tits.
If I like walk into a room, they shouldn't be the first thing that gets in the room.
Yeah.
Right? And then,
Eyes up here.
I feel so like a piece of meat.
Right? Pretty funny stuff. Yeah, so the sun has started to come out. We've been having some like let's be honest, the weather's been kind of crappy here. So, like in
It
May
hasn't been
so far.
bad, but it's just it hasn't
Well,
been nice.
By bad you mean it hasn't been snowing,
Like,
but
it
it's
snowed
not been good.
It snowed a couple times, but we always get
Calgary
snow.
got hammered with snow, man.
Yeah.
But you like in May you have a pretty good shot of it being pretty nice out by now.
So it's May 9th now.
Yeah. And it just hasn't been like April is an absolute wild card in this province.
Yep.
We are a province of extreme weather. We get extremely cold. We get extremely hot. We get extreme winds. We get extreme dryness, drought. We get extreme, like everything's just extreme. Extreme temp, like swings in
day, like in a day,
In
you
a
can have
day.
20-degree swing in a day.
And April is just an extreme month that sometimes April is 25 out
Yep.
or 80. And sometimes it's -6 and snowing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it just does, you just don't know. But May, usually you start to get a little bit more.
But don't you remember that it was always like you'd get a snowfall May long weekend?
May long weekend was, it seemed like it always got shitty on May long
Yeah.
weekend. Because I certainly know it's the first May long weekend is really kind of like the start to summer. It's when people do their first like camping trip.
Yeah,
They,
or
they put
get
their
the
garden in.
Cabin ready, or they put
Right.
It's summer. It happens that weekend.
Because it may be nice enough in April, but you can't trust it.
Yeah,
It's like it's 20. We should plant the garden. It's like, don't do that.
yeah, everything.
It'll
we did.
snow for sure if you do
Yeah.
that. So May long weekend is a safe spot, but usually May is pretty nice. And right now it's just like it's not crappy, but it's just like it's drainy. It's drainy.
Drainy.
It's rainy
Drizzly and rainy.
drizzly.
It's drainy your soul out
Yeah,
there.
you got my language.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been cool and rainy. And the problem with that for us is that homeowners who are building their own stuff are very weather fickle. Like you're not.
Yeah.
Why would and I don't blame them. Why would you go outside and build
I'm
it when
weather
it's 5
fickle.
degrees and rainy when you can wait a couple weeks and it'll be 25 and sunny?
Yep.
So the problem for us is that it just slows everything down. You get a slow start to the season because the contractors are going now, sure, but that's half our business. The other half is DIY and homeowners. And like that, those people, like they might be getting quotes now, but they're just like, let's put this off for another weekend. I'll put it off for another weekend. It's supposed to be rainy this
Got the
week.
sales team down there trying to jam the boards that on their neck. Is like, take it this week.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I don't want it. You take it.
So just been a little bit,
It's coming though.
not super warm.
It's coming.
So it is. Saskatoon looked like it was very sunny today. Here it's a little bit cloudier, but anyway, last week we did an episode about good product selections for building a budget-friendly composite deck, and I hope it was valuable for people.
Like for sure, somebody found some value in that.
And now we're going to give you the other half of it. You got your products picked out now, but like, how do you be the most efficient with those products and save money through process now?
Yeah,
And
there'll be value in this one.
yeah. So tips, and these apply whether you're doing high-end product or budget-friendly product. Either way, these are good tips.
Nobody likes to be wasteful, right?
Correct.
Sometimes that happens, and it's like it's unfortunate. But
Yeah.
if you can plan this out a little wee bit in advance, then you can be efficient. And I believe that most people like to be efficient and like to not be wasteful.
A little bit of planning can save you potentially thousands of dollars. So take the little bit of time to plan it out. And you don't have to sit there and wonder. You just listen to us. That's why we're here.
We'll do this.
So here you go. Number one tip is what do we got here? We got 6 tips, but I'm sure it'll grow as we go. But just like your nipples.
That's it. I'm taping them down.
You're taking what down? Your nipples?
Taping them down.
Oh, taping them down.
I'm
Yeah,
going to tape them.
as you should. Okay, number one tip to save money is work with the size of the materials that are available. So with your deck, and if you're doing composite, which we're assuming in this episode, work within what's available from your lumberyard, I guess. But 12, 16, and 20-foot lengths are common across all manufacturers pretty much. And so try to work within, try to finalize your decking dimension, your plan to work with those dimensions. Don't do a deck that's 14 feet wide. It's an awful dimension. Don't do a deck that's 18 feet wide because you're just going to end up with waste. So you go 14 feet wide, what are you going to do? You're going to use 6, and let's assume you're going to do a picture frame because people almost always do.
Yeah.
So 14-foot deck, you put a picture frame on, you still need 13'4" of boards in the field because your picture frame's not chewing up enough. You could add another picture frame, and that's still not enough. And then you add another. Maybe if you get to a triple picture frame, you can use 12-foot boards down the field. But you're probably not going to do that.
And it just would look wrong.
On a smaller deck, it would certainly look wrong. Yeah.
Triple picture frame on a smaller deck doesn't look very good.
So then you have to use 16-foot boards. But now you only needed 13'4". So you're cutting off 2'8" worth of boards off every single board. You're building a budget deck, so you're getting a good price on these budget boards, but it's still $350 a linear foot. So you're still cutting off $9 off every single board you're using. And even on a moderate sized deck, that's 30 boards.
Yep.
What's 30 times 9? $270. So there you go. You just wasted $300 worth of material for no reason.
And so maybe you could make those boards part of your fascia. You could run them
the next
vertically.
Point. You betcha.
Maybe you could,
Yep.
but you're only going to get one side done. So then you have to buy other boards to do the other side. But that's okay. Like, there are places to use it. Maybe you can build planters, or maybe you could.
Last episode, we talked about doing
Your
barbecue
steps.
side counters. So certainly if you got 2.5 feet, or what did I say? 2'8" worth of board left over.
Yeah, I would have just called that 3, but
Like you, with a trim, you could have just made that, like those could be used for side counters.
Yep.
But if you don't have a plan or know where to use that waste, then you're just burning $300 cash for zero benefit at all. So instead, plan for that to be a 12-foot wide deck, a 16-foot wide deck, or a 20-foot wide deck, or that plus your picture frame. So you could go 12'8" still, and you get that extra 8 inches by whatever the deck is worth of square footage without having to upgrade to any new boards. And the reason I say 8 inches is because on a picture frame board that's 5.5 inches wide, you're generally letting that rest on the framing about 4 inches of it.
Yep.
You have an 1.5 inch overhang that that your fascia will tuck up underneath and leave you with a 3/4 inch reveal. That number is a little bit fluid. It could be 4 inches, it could be 4.5, whatever it is.
close enough.
But 12'8" you can get away with without having to increase the next size of the board. Same as 16'8" and 20'8". Now, if you are doing a double picture frame, you get to add more to that. Maybe now you go from 12'8" to maybe now you can do 13'4" or 13'6", maybe even. So you can get a little bit more out of it if you do it that way. But just plan it so you don't have to waste a bunch of those field boards cutting them off. Second point to your point was, if you're in a situation where you have to be that dimension, you can save a ton of money by using those scrap cutoff pieces as fascia, because the fascia boards are pricey.
Yep.
But if you cut off 3 feet of board from 30 boards, you can cut those down into 8-inch pieces or 10-inch pieces, whatever you need to cover your lumber, and install them vertically in pieces. And I personally think it still looks really good like that.
Certainly
arguably better.
Yep.
And so it's maybe a little bit more labor intensive than just installing full sheets, but it's going to look great. And then your fascia costs you $0.
Yep.
So
Because you already have it bought.
right.
You
And
have
so
to
if your
buy-
deck is 14, okay, there's another
There it
good
is.
point right there. The
Fascia.
fascia comes 12 feet long.
Yep.
So you even aesthetically, now you've got a couple weird joints or a off-center joint or something. Whereas if you're using the vertical boards, there's no joints.
Yep.
Or 100 joints. But let's say it's 12 by 14 is your deck. You're going to need one piece of fascia on the side, one piece of fascia on the other side, and now you need 2 pieces of fascia across the front because
Which
you're
is
2 feet
unfortunate.
short. Now you wasted 10 feet of fascia, and the fascia is probably $12 a linear foot.
Yep.
So what's that? 4 pieces of fascia times $150. That's $600 of fascia you can not buy if
Yep.
you've got leftover decking. So
You
there
could use
go.
that fascia on your stairs if you have stairs
Sure,
on
yeah.
the risers, but it's for sure more expensive.
Speaking of the stairs,
Okay, here we go.
keep the stairs narrow. Build a 4-foot wide set of steps.
Yeah. So I was talking to someone yesterday about this, and they were like, how big should we build our stairs? Solid edge material typically comes in 20-foot lengths, so make the stairs divisible by 20.
That too. Yeah.
So your stairs can be 4 feet wide or 5 feet wide. Don't make them 3 feet wide or 6 feet wide.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's something to consider about openings more than 4 feet wide. And I only say this because I lived this mistake myself. I did 5-foot wide stairs.
Okay.
And then I had just like a baseball team worth of kids. Just they're everywhere.
As a basketball team for sure.
It's like I don't even know where they all are. So we wanted to put a gate on our deck when the kids were younger.
Oh, yeah.
And I screwed myself because most gate kits will only do a maximum opening of 48 inches.
Yeah.
So by me, for no other reason, I know the reason, I was trying to make this is dumb. We own the lumberyard. I was trying to make the glass panels work that we had in stock. I didn't have to wait when I was building the deck that weekend, and we had like one size, and I was like, that's okay. I'll just make the stairs opening wider to use these smaller glass panels. And it screwed me in the end. So just be aware of that if you're going to do a gate, that 4-foot openings are easy to work with, and bigger than that gets a little bit more complicated.
Certainly.
But the point being, some people like to come in and they want these grand staircases. And God, stairs are by far the most labor and capital intensive parts of the deck.
Yes.
And people don't think about that. How big's your deck? 300 square feet. Nobody counts the stairs in that number.
Ever.
And the stairs are very, very expensive. They take a ton of material, more material than the deck itself.
Yep.
Because you're now also doing the if you're going to finish them completely, like people do a lot of times, then they're very, very expensive. So if you're doing a 4 foot wide set of stairs, I say 4 feet because it's a little bit more than what's required by minimum code. You have to have that 3 foot clearance between your rail posts. It's probably a hair more than that, but it's comfortable for 2 people to pass going up and down the stairs.
Yep.
Anything less than that is like really tight.
Unless, of course, my nipples are on there.
Right.
In which time that's uncomfortable for everyone.
Then blood will be spilt today.
You'll be cut.
So 4 foot's good. Any wider, you're just adding additional cost. You might like the look of it, but it's rare that people are willing to spend a bunch more money for the look of it.
Mm-hmm.
Functionally, it doesn't get really any better.
Yeah.
So just be cautious.
Yeah, those
of that.
big cascading stairs are so expensive.
Yeah.
Just like, so
You
much
can
money.
probably almost account for like 1.5 times your materials cost on the deck for the stair. Like,
Yeah.
if you say one tread 4 feet wide is 4 square feet,
Mm-hmm.
and you calculate it that way, so you've got 6 treads at 4, you've got 24 square feet. You can probably times your material cost by 1.5 what the deck was.
Yep.
For the material on that. So that's
Because you end
that's
up
a lot.
Because you end up closing the back, which is another 4 square feet,
Right.
approximately, right? So
Yeah, it can be pricey. So with that said, if you have the option, keep the deck lower. Like you're probably going to need stairs somewhere anyway, but potentially by keeping the deck lower, you keep the number of stairs down.
yeah,
And so that can help reduce cost. It also may help you to reduce cost because you may, if you're at that 6 foot mark,
mm-hmm.
and now all of a sudden there's new rules that come into play. Your railing needs to be taller. Your piles need to be beefier. You might need site-specific engineering now if your deck's over 6 feet.
Yep.
But if you make that deck 5 feet and you take one step down out of the house to get
Yeah.
down lower, all of a
Mhm.
sudden you're able to work within the rules of a deck that's lower. So you're saving yourself a ton of cost.
Yep.
Same thing goes with the 2 foot rule. If you want to build a deck that's 28 inches tall, you need railing. If you build a deck that's 23 inches tall, you don't need railing.
Right.
So
And that's a lot. That's an expensive.
Right.
Like that's
Huge.
easily $2,000 on most decks.
Absolutely.
So
So could be a big cost. Also, if you're planning on skirting the deck in, the height of the deck is how much skirting you need too, because the skirting is also another square foot addition of material that you're doing.
Yep.
So obviously if your deck's 3 feet tall and you're skirting it in, that costs a lot less than if it's 5 feet tall and you're skirting it in.
Yep.
So the height of the deck's going to add quite a bit of cost. Then if you get into like really tall things and you're hiring people to do it, let's say your deck is now 10 feet tall or 8 feet tall and whatever. I don't even know these scenarios, like if that makes sense, but the higher the deck is, potentially the more a contractor will charge to do it because it's so much slower to work above your head
certainly.
off scaffolding or off ladders than it is to work lower. So
Absolutely.
if you can get down to a more reasonable height with some stairs right away, then it might save you on the whole cost.
Yeah.
Next thing is to simplify the design. So a lot of people come in with these grand ideas that they want to they just like the look of a curved deck or something, or they like the look of the idea of clipping these corners off over here, or they like the idea of multiple tiers,
Yeah.
but their deck isn't really big to begin with, so that doesn't make sense. It's like you're just adding cost for what you think is this aesthetic, but if the budget is to save money, these things all cost money. Well, how does it cost money? If I clip the corners off, there's less deck there. But there's not less deck. You're just cutting it off and throwing it in the garbage. And then you need some additional brackets to make the railing work on those 45-degree corners now that you didn't need before. And you need a section of railing that's small, and you probably got to buy a bigger panel it's going to cost more. And if you're hiring somebody, they may charge a little bit more because now you've got a couple mitered corners to make on that turn, and it just everything gets a little bit more complicated. So simplify your design. And I'm certainly not saying that I don't think people should build boring decks, but if the goal is budget here, the simpler,
If there's
lower cost.
those are some options to be able to optimize material and to be able to use your dollars most efficiently as well, right? A rectangle is the most efficient and cost-effective way to build a deck.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
So as you stack rectangles or cut corners off rectangles, it just costs more. That's it. It just costs a little bit.
Even using multiple colors can sometimes cost you more money, and here's the reason why. A lot of times people want to do like the field boards in one color, and then they want to do an accenting different colored picture frame.
Yep.
But what happens if you like, say the field color, you had to buy a box of plugs to do some of the boards.
Yep.
And you got a bunch extra, but the picture frame went with a different color, so you can't even use those plugs anymore. You have to buy another whole set of box plugs. So it costs you another $100 to get the different color plugs when you actually had enough of the original color. So it's like things like that too could potentially cost you more in the end too.
Yep.
It all adds up, right? Anything else before we go to that last one that you want to add in there?
No, I think that those, like, the processes are good. So I did think about fascia on your stairs as well. And so I had said to make it divisible by 20, but if you're going to do fascia material, those are only 12 foot lengths. So 4 again makes the most sense.
4 is the magic number. Yeah.
It really is, right? Nope, that's it. We talked about railing a little bit, and so like having aluminum railing, last week we talked about it. And so aluminum railing is the most cost-effective way to do it. Those panels come in 6 and 8 foot lengths. So if your deck is 12 feet or 16 feet, that works really well.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it depends on the brands. Those ones are a little bit different sometimes, right? The Fortress one you mentioned, 6 and 8 foot lengths. So work within that. Because if you go 14 feet, you're railing.
2 8-footers.
To your point, you're cutting some off of that too.
Toss it out and throw it away.
Can't
But
use
Vista has 7 foot rails.
Yep.
So, but they only have 6 foot picket packs and 4 foot picket packs.
Right.
So your railing doesn't, like, yes, the top and bottom rail is okay, but you're going to end up with some picket waste. So
Yeah, maybe that one's like your total picket on the whole deck is what matters there, right?
Yeah.
You might have 7 foot section, 7 foot section, 7 foot section, whatever, but it might add up to 35 or something like that, and you can get there by 6 packs of pickets. You only actually have 1 foot of waste, not a foot every section or something.
Yeah.
But regardless.
So that was it. Yeah.
Okay, well, the final point then was to build some of it yourself. Maybe you were planning on building this whole thing yourself anyway, in which case you have no install costs, but like only do that if you know how.
Yeah.
Don't wing it if you don't know how, because you're just going to introduce a variety of issues, cost being one of them, because you're probably going to make mistakes and eradicate any savings you may have had anyway if you're not experienced with this.
Yep.
But a simple deck is something that somebody with some know-how and some carpentry experience can do.
Yep.
But maybe you don't know everything and the structural part concerns you. So we at least have the option. So if you're in Regina and Saskatoon, you have the option of hiring our assisted DIY service, we call it, which will have a contractor come out and frame it for you. So they put the footings in, they attach the ledger board properly, they frame the whole deck, and you take over at the part where you start screwing deck boards down, which, to be honest, is quite simple. Like it's not super complicated. Will you get a better fit and finish from a contractor that's rolling track saws and has built 1,000 decks? Of course.
Yes, you will.
But that comes at a cost. So if you're going to do it yourself, you may not be quite as fit and finished, but maybe you're okay with that at the savings of cost. But now all of a sudden you saved like thousands of dollars by doing the deck boards and the railing yourself.
Yep.
So it is an option to, and that's going to be the most significant savings you can have. Like if you can carve that piece out.
Absolutely.
So, and maybe that allows you to spend a bit more on the, we talked before about like, on a budget deck, you're probably not doing lighting. It's like, well, if you're able to tackle some of the things themselves, maybe that frees up some money to do some lighting and
certainly
add some things to your deck.
Yeah. Yeah. More value, put some lights on there. You get a little more value out of that. So
yeah.
We have an assisted DIY that's going to happen next week. And I was talking to the homeowners yesterday, and they're also very concerned about the picture frame board. They're like, is there any way, can somebody come help us with that? Like, we're just so nervous about that. Like, we don't know how to do it. So this is one where we're struggling to get products. So I was like, I'll come do it. So,
oh man, listen to this guy.
I'm going to,
we don't do that. You're going to get calls now.
I might. Can you just come do this? I bought all my decking from one of the box stores.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you come cut it for us?
Okay, that's it for this episode. Hopefully that helps. I think these last 2 episodes here can literally save people thousands of dollars. So
certainly
there's some value in these episodes that we just pulled off. So listen up. If you have any questions, shoot us a message on Instagram. But
well, I thought you were exiting with Backyard Lullaby.
I absolutely should have. See you next week.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships, or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.